All right. Hello there, and welcome to the Be More podcast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Maria, and it's again one of those late night recordings. It's 9 o'clock at night. So if we're tired, and we've also had very busy weekends the past couple of weekends, so this is what we look like right now.
This is how. This is how.
For
This
everyone
is
that's
it
watching on
right here.
YouTube, that is.
This is all it. These are. So I'm wearing those like. I tried those like blue light glasses. Like these are Dan's blue light glasses. But he bought these before he got glasses because it was fun for him to like experience what it was like to wear glasses. And like he's always on his phone. And I like never thought about having to worry about like blue light ever. Like I never cared. And so now he has like real person glasses. So he doesn't really wear these. So I was like the other night, I was like thinking to myself, we were like, I think it was like Friday, and I was like staring at my phone all day. And like Thursday, I did like 8 hours of like Zoom stuff, and I was like, my eyes are killing me. Like my eyes are so tired. And I was like, you know what, I should try doing like this. Like I was like, we like spent like 20 minutes trying to find the glasses because he hasn't worn them in forever.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll try these. So we'll see how this goes.
They work. Because okay, so I wear glasses all the time now. Like I don't wear my contacts usually anymore, because I'm in front of my computer for work. And the glasses before these, I have two pairs. But the glasses before these,
I was gonna say, did you get different ones? They look different.
I have two pairs. I switch on and off between. I usually wear the other ones, like they're like rose gold ones that you usually see me wear, but I have them over there somewhere. But both of these have blue light, whatever it's called now. The ones before it didn't, and the ones before it, I would get a headache. So they work because I don't get headaches anymore after I work long hours.
That's solid. Well, that's good to know.
So they work.
Well, that's good. Thank you for whoever figured out that we need to find out that we can have glasses and things that restrict that, because now we're on the computer more than ever, and it's
oh my god, it's crazy.
That's great. I know. It's just great.
So yeah. Boy. We did have a topic.
Okay, wait. All right. So let me jump into my story, because if you are a listener, I found out today. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I started listening to your podcast, and they were like, I really enjoy it," and I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks. That's so nice."
Well, thank you. Whoever that was, thank you.
I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you who it was later. But so sorry, I forgot where my train of thought was going. I got sidetracked. So if you are like a listener, or you've listened to episodes, or at least recent episodes, our topics or conversations usually start with like me telling a story about something that happened or a question that I have. And then Maria and I just like dive into it. So let me tell you about this experience that I had. I was in the car, and I spent a lot of time in the car, and I was like listening to the radio, which I don't often do. And I heard a commercial that was like, started talking about like spider veins and varicose veins. Do you know what those guys are? For anybody who doesn't know what like spider veins and varicose veins are, it's when like the veins in your legs, and I think they're like they happen in your arms too, but I'm not 100% sure. They start to like, you don't get as much blood rushing through them, so they start to like get thinner, and then they start to like raise to the surface of your skin. You can see them like in your most commonly like in your joints. So like I have some like on the backs of my knees. I like sit crisscross a lot and like have terrible circulation things.
Yeah.
So like I was like, whatever. So there are things that happen naturally. They're not necessarily dangerous or bad. They can like become an issue like in the long run if they're like they get really bad.
Yeah.
Like,
people get them taken out.
Yeah, like you can, but like physically, like health wise, like they're really not a big deal. But they're not the prettiest thing in the world like to look at.
No.
So this like radio commercial was just talking about varicose veins and spider veins, and was like some lady came on and was like, yeah, like you can get rid of those embarrassing and ugly things on your legs. And it was just really frustrating.
Yeah.
And I was like, what just happened? Like, are you super like preying on women right now to make them feel bad about themselves so that you can get people to come to you to like fix their like varicose and spider veins?
This was a radio commercial for a company or like a medical.
Yeah, for like some doctor's office or whatever who takes care of these things.
So then yes, the answer is yes. They want you to spend money on
which is like the entire beauty industry, right? Like I get it. Like and like the entire like cosmetic surgery industry. Right. Like I understand it. But it was just really frustrating. And I was really angry in the car, and I had to like post a bunch of stuff on Instagram about it because it really bothered me. And it's like I can understand you harping on like the they could become a potential health issue. Like,
yeah, if you took that route, yeah.
Right. And I was just like, but like, no, they blatantly were like, I want to make you feel bad. And I'm sitting there like looking down at mine and I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is so not like for a commercial to like some way sit in your brain. But the reason why, like, I was like looking at them, I was like, oh, these really aren't nice. Isn't necessarily because like I think that, it's because I remember growing up, the women in my family used to be like, oh yeah, we have these like spider veins that we get on our legs, or like I would hear my mom and her like sisters like talk about them on their legs and how much they didn't like them, like all these things that like get like layered into our brains like unconsciously, that like end up creating ways that we think about our like our bodies and stuff in the future. And I was like, this is such bullshit.
I mean, that's just how like society is, right? Like,
I know,
whatever imperfection,
like, and it's not just ours, it's like all societies.
Yeah, especially women, like whatever imperfection you have, there's always a doctor or someone that can be like, oh, I can take care of that for you.
But it just, I don't know.
In the long run, it doesn't matter. We all die anyway. And
it just got me so frustrated. And then like going back to stuff that we talked about, like when we had our guest Marinella on, when she's like young and she deals with a lot of stress and anxiety. And it's like, these are the, like, that's great. Stress. Like it's bad enough to do it to adults, but then like you're marketing this stuff and like kids are going to hear it and be like, oh, I never want to get those things. And they're going to like think badly of themselves. So they get them. It just, that's the thing that bothers me. I feel like that lack of long-term consideration for that's how we got here, right. Period.
Yeah.
But like that lack of long-term consideration or like thinking about the negative consequences of things just made me really sad. And then I texted you and I was like,
marketing for
women. This whole episode is going to be about female, like the marketing against the female, how marketing has been devised against the female. Okay, so wait, do you watch Adam Ruins Everything? Have you ever seen the show Adam Ruins Everything?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen
it. Dude, but when that show came out, I was all about it because you know me, like I like to put cracks in everything and I like to learn the truth behind things. And I'm super about theories.
Devil's advocate for every single like possible.
Yeah. And I love that. And they back it up with like research, like to the point of where like episodes would come on and I'd be like on all of their resources.
Googling,
like, yeah, because you can. But they did a whole episode where they talked about pink tax.
Oh yeah. Yes, you did text that to me. Yes.
And like that was something that came to my brain because of that instance. And I didn't like actually remember to text you until like the day that I texted you days later about it. But like I was so pissed at the time that I learned about that. Like I was already 25. Like I was already an avid consumer and I had no idea how like effing scammed I was being because I have a vagina.
I mean, yeah, because I mean the pink tax is definitely a thing. If you're not aware of it, it's basically just like how do I even say this? It's like the upcharging of all like, you know, tampons and like sanitary pads and all, you know, feminine hygiene products.
Yeah. And it all started because of, I don't know his first name. What's Gillette's first name? Do you know?
I don't know.
Like
but Razor
Harvey
guy.
Razor guy. Like whatever. Like it just sounds like
whatever. Some generic
Henry Gillette, whatever. Sure. Yeah. Insert generic white guy's name from like the 40s here, period. Literally. So this is something that we have to go back on and talk about this topic too, because I have conversations with this about like the young girls that I dance, like that I work with dance all the time. I'm going to circle back and then I'll circle forward. And I want to know what your thoughts were about this too.
Okay.
When I was a kid, right, I used to be super worried, especially with like dance and like having to have like skin out for that. I used to get super worried about shaving like my legs and like shaving my toes and shaving my armpits and like shaving things. And feeling like if I didn't do it, like it was like just gross or dirty, right? And I remember my mother making comments to me that was like, that I like were always like just baffling to me and never understanding them. She would be like, well, just do what apparently my grandmother like stopped shaving her legs until like all of her hair got really long and all of her hair follicles just like fell out of her legs. Yeah. Because they couldn't handle it anymore and they just jump ship. And I was like, how is that like a thing that ever happened? But it made sense once I learned about pink tax and like what Gillette did. Mm-hmm. Women didn't used to shave their legs. Like it wasn't a thing. Like women having leg hair like back in the day wasn't a thing. until Gillette started making razors and realized that he only had a limited market in selling to men.
Yeah.
So he was the person, like his company and like the razor industry, like the self-grooming industry, were the ones that were like, you know what? We're going to tell women that they need to shave their legs. And that it's disgusting to have leg hair. Yeah, for females to be appealing and tell them they need to have leg hair, that they shouldn't have leg hair in order to like get a man or to be attractive to the man. So they started making like feminine colored razors, like pink ones and things like that. And that's where the term like the pink tax came from. He started upselling females for their products, and you would say that they were like exclusive to women. They were the same fucking. They still are today. The same fucking thing.
They're just the same thing. They're like duller than
right. Honestly, like our razors are worse. It's bullcrap. That's why I started buying men's razors. But so that's like why. So that's how it started. So it was razors that started to get upcharged, and then once it was like realized the products that women tend to go towards.
I'm sorry. Even deodorant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything that we use that is targeted at females, like brands like Secret, the things that we put, anything like feminine hygiene.
Cheaper. Like, like annoying.
Yeah. We buy like a non, like from our business, we get one that's like non-gender, and we both use it.
Like, I can't believe it's gendered.
Like, yes, the things that you buy that are even to the extent of like even pens and pencils.
I know.
Like when they come out with the cookie pens that are like for her, and they claim to be like curved a certain way because it's gentler in a female's hand. Like, no, they just want to make you pay more money for it.
It's dumb.
So being a blind consumer and not having any idea that any of this was happening, when I found out about it, I was furious.
Yeah, because
the fact that it still the fact that it still happens today, is bullshit.
I mean, yeah, why? Because why are we gendering every bit of consumer product, right? Like even like paper towels sometimes, or like napkins and like bullshit product, like paper products like that are gendered sometimes. Yeah, I mean that's.
So I hope you learned something about marketing. Don't listen when people tell you don't listen to anybody who told you that you need to get a female razor. Literally, the guys' razors are so much better.
It really is. No, I mean, yeah, I can vouch for that. But it's really just like the height of like consumerism and capitalism. That's just what the game they're playing, and
they did a really good job, right? And like to their point, they did a good job with their like they
did their job
what they needed to do. Like I respect that, but like you're a bunch, literally you're a bag of dicks. Like you're all male anyway, and you're also a bag of dicks.
Literally and figuratively.
But like, how do you feel about the whole leg shaving thing?
Oh, circling back to that. It's annoying that we grew up in a society that said to do that, because now like I don't ever want to do it, period. Because it's like annoying, and like the whole patriarchy system is just fucking annoying. And like buying razors is just like such a pain in the ass. And just doing the act of shaving, like, but like I don't even shave my legs. Like I feel like I shave my legs in like the summer. Otherwise, like I don't. So I still do it. So the thing is, I still do it like when I like, I don't know, in the summer. But like when it's winter and fall out now, like I just wear pants. So like who's gonna like who? And
yeah, no one cares. And like no one. That was the biggest.
Spoiler alert to everyone, like every girl probably doesn't shave during the fucking winter and the fall.
Right, and I know that. Like, I talk to females all the time. Yeah, and the thing that also made me like even more angry after learning about pink tax. Like, I've been with Dan for such a long time, and I remember because of all the stuff that we were told about, like, oh, like guys aren't gonna like you if your hairs are like your legs are hairy, and they're gonna think you're gross and blah blah blah. And I remember like you know how like all of that crap, like you worry about that crap, right? Like you don't want it, but you secretly you've been like programmed to worry about that crap. So I like remember like worrying about my leg, like having my legs being hairy, and like the reality is the leg hair that grows like on your shin and your calf is like different than the leg hair that grows like above your knee.
Yes.
That hair tends to be like when it grows, like it tends to be thicker. It tends to be like more stubbly. But, like the hair that grows above your legs is like the hair on your arms, like it's softer hair. So like that was the first area that like I like stopped shaving. So I was like, what? I haven't shaved above my knee in I don't know what.
I've never shaved above my knee.
Like it's brilliant. It's so much more like so much less stressful to have to deal with anything. And I remember being so worried about, that was like the first area that I remember being worried about, being like, oh my God, like my legs are hairy. Like, what is Dan gonna think? And I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, my legs are hairy. And he'd be like, your legs are not hairy. Look at my legs. My legs are hairy. Like, and you can't do this. So your legs will never be hairy. Yeah. And that like blew
my mind,
because that's not what we're taught. That's just not what we're taught. So then I was like, well, F it. So like then I started not shaving the bottoms of my legs. And then I'd be like, okay, what about this? Like, do you think like this is hairy? Because like it gets like, whoo. Yeah. But then I also realized the hair like on your shin and your calf, I don't know about you, but like mine doesn't grow out consistently. Like I have bald spots like randomly all over my.
It doesn't, and it doesn't grow out. Just like after a while, it just like stays at a length.
It just stops growing.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why like,
I've gotten to a point. Yeah, it's like not even worth it. I've gotten to a point where
it's very stubborn.
If I go to see like some of my younger clients that are like younger girls, like especially during the summer months.
Yeah.
I purposely will have days where I like will go there like not shaving, like having shaved my legs, because they'll always say to me like, oh, I didn't shave my legs today, and I'll be like, look at my leg.
Yeah.
And like, your legs are not hairy. Don't worry about your legs. Like stop caring. Like just to try to like get into like their brain to like think like
it doesn't matter.
Like just hope them to think different, like help them think differently about it and not worry about it.
I think the younger generations have it together compared to like the millennials. I think we fed into the consumerism and marketing, because like honestly, I'm like, look at my leg. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the majority of like my leg is like not hairy. You know, like there's bald spots everywhere.
Because we're not.
Because like
it
doesn't matter. Like it really
doesn't matter. We're not. I said to Dan the other day.
Yeah.
I really have to start writing down all of the. You know how my brain works. I'll literally just be standing in silence, and then a stupid question will come out of my mouth, like like whether it's an existential question or just like a dumb question that I have. So like we have like just gotten out of the shower, and I was like sitting there thinking to myself like about how like my hair was wet. Or I think my hair is whatever, and like how easy it was for us to like dry off. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, why are we like the only animals that are not covered in hair? And, like, you know what I mean? Like it's because we wear clothes. Like I understand like the scientific reasons as to why we don't wear hair, right? Like and like we wear clothes so we don't have to worry about it. And blah 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 blah. But then I'm thinking to myself like we're like
literally
we're so naked, like we're so exposed, like because we don't like. Because of the fact that we wear clothes, like we made ourselves vulnerable to the fact that like
we're exposed,
nothing else protecting our skin, right? So like I'm like having these. So now I'm thinking to myself, I was like, so we never really truly can be hairy because of that.
I can't stand you. Yes.
Guys, welcome to the inside of my brain. These are like oh my God, the questions that I randomly ask throughout the day. This is my life. I am that curious, weird person. This is why I like science.
So for any like women out there, we can never truly be hairy. That's what Brittany is saying.
Yeah.
So you
like
don't have to shave your
legs. Our ancestors were hairy, right? Like those who did not wear clothes. Like, but we cannot.
You believe in evolution?
Right. Well, yeah. If you believe that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't believe in evolution, like.
Look, we're like
even
naked.
like
compared to every other animal,
like we're
in the animal kingdom.
It's so weird.
Wow.
You don't think it's weird at all?
I don't think I've ever like dove into that thought process.
Because I'm the weirdo who does. Yep.
Guys, I don't think I've ever had.
Welcome to my life and the way that I think.
I don't think I've ever had an existential crisis on the lack of hair on my body yet. I think that's forthcoming. I think.
Yep.
Done. I'm not in that mindset, but like you're right, I guess. Like I get it.
It's weird.
I mean, yeah. Well, I'll ponder this later and get back
wonderful.
To you.
The moral of all of this is that women, you guys are beautiful just the way you are. So are men. So is anybody who like whether you relate to a gender or you don't or you whatever, like you're beautiful.
We're all good.
And marketing can kiss your butt and do whatever makes you feel good. Like if shaving your legs really makes you feel good and you're diehard about it, like
we're also not advocating
right, like do whatever you want, but we're just telling you some truths that we uncovered in our lives that were like moments of like explosion. Well, for me, they were like, what is going on? I've been lied to this whole time.
Right. So
but yeah, honestly, and if you choose to shave your legs, like for real though, like don't buy like razors for girls. Buy Buy guys razors. They're better.
They're better.
They last a little longer, and they're cheaper.
Correct. Honestly. And guys deodorant, guys whatever, is usually cheaper for some unknown reason. Well, we know why.
We know why.
It's annoying. Don't feed into capitalism.
No possibly legitimate, explainable reason aside from the fact that they just want to make and the thing that's bullshit about it too is like back in that time, right? Women women's roles wasn't like making money for themselves. Like
so they really upcharged it like a bunch.
Right, like their like husbands ended up paying for that stuff, or families ended up paying for that stuff. It wasn't like the females had money, and then it was like more of a slap in the face because then they were like, hey, we're gonna start making our own money, and then they don't pay us the same amount that they pay men, and we still have to pay more.
Yes, there is still a gender wage gap for anyone out there.
Being female is wonderful.
It's really a disadvantage.
It is, but we have so many amazing women, like the amazing RPG we talked about a couple episodes ago. Like we got amazing women who've done so much to help us be where we are.
Yes.
So go do that.
Go vote.
Side note.
Side note.
Please God.
Please vote. Or if you don't vote, because I still know people that don't vote, you do you. Like I don't know.
Yeah. But then don't complain about it later.
That yes. If you don't vote and then you complain about the state of government after the election, you have no right to complain. That's my 2 cents on that.
You forfeit it. You totally forfeit it.
It's it's a vote against democracy.
What other? We're gonna circle back to this like female topic because now we're talking about being females. Were there any things that you heard about being like a female as a kid that like you had like changed for you? That you like learned something that, like you realized was like a stereotype or was like a
female stereotype and shit?
Yeah, it was like an unfair thing that was like pressed upon you for being like born a female that you were like, no.
That we're weak.
Like that's a good one.
That we should like, just stay quiet and just, be shy and, just away from everything. Like that shit.
Yeah.
Or that like you always be like a guy around if you're like out and about. Like you can't take care of yourself and all that shit.
Truth.
That's all false. Like that's bullshit. Like
there's so many things that they tell us that we can be like, this is all false. Everything that you hear about being female is false. Well, I feel like it's different. I hope it's different now for younger girls. I feel like we hear about a lot of like girl power and like like females are strong. Like a lot of that definitely for girls. But I feel like the way that we get like psychologically, we get manipulated on like a more manipulative level.
Yeah, like emotional level.
Yeah, then like an outright. We might not be as aside from like pay rate and paying tax. Like we might not be as outright like oppressed, like physically oppressed.
It's
like
emotional,
systemically oppressed, but like we still deal with a lot of emotional crap that's like psychological manipulation.
We are slightly obviously systemically oppressed though, with the wage gap and all that stuff.
Right, like there is stuff there, but it's not as bad.
But not as bad if as a BIPOC. And
that's also true,
community. But the emotional toll growing up as a female, at least in our generation and the generation before us, has obviously taken a toll on us. Because like that's why a lot of women stay home and like aren't like they can be successful if they wanted to, but chose to stay home because they thought that that's being a housewife is like their life goal. I mean, like that's also okay. Like
that's totally fine.
That's also okay too. But also like I feel like
Jesus,
I don't know. Like some people like are brainwashed to be like, oh, that's my goal. Like, but what if you weren't taught that? What if you actually wanted to go out and like do something with and like
that was one of the things that one of the ones that used to rub me the wrong way was that like hearing and I think the good thing about it was that I never had any females in my family that represented like you can't have a successful, like my mother like had a very successful career and had a family, like I always used to hate hearing like you have to but I always used to, even as we got older, like it used to be like, oh, you're gonna go do this, well, aren't you gonna have like a family, don't you want to be a mom?
Oh, that's too
like, wait, what?
Why does it matter?
And like to this point, like, I'm sorry, but like, do you see the world we live in? Like, do you want to be a mom right now? Like, no offense to people who like, if you are a mom, like, I'm sure you love your kids, but like in my thought process, like, I don't have kids yet, so like that's the way I think. But it's just like
the way that the world.
Why does it have to be a choice?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be a choice? And like, it's harder. Choice, like, I understand.
Like, choice.
Right. Why does it have to be a single choice? Why can't you make multiple choices and they all be right?
Right.
Because they're what works for you.
No, because that's, that was the norm in their day. So
yeah. So it's just I'm very grateful for the differences that we've grown up in. Because first of all, I would have never survived. I would have been jailed. I would have been oh God, I could have never lived during, I don't know. I would have been a flapper. I would have been one of the, like, if I lived in that time straight up, I would have been
progressive, like super, yeah, no. Like, I don't think I would survive either. Because we do have freedoms now. More freedoms than, the generations before us.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, thank goodness we don't have to, like, stay home and, like, have kids and, choose to either be that or...
thank goodness we don't have to wear the bras that women used to wear. Like, those things were...
Can we also talk about how, like, I hate wearing bras and, like, when I go out...
Same, not wearing one right now. TMI, but super not wearing one right now.
Like, also, that also really is annoying. How bras are so expensive.
Yep.
Like, the quality ones, like, dumb.
Yep.
It's an investment being a woman. It's literally an investment.
Real, though. And plus, it's like, we have to do so much more consistent, like, because of our internal reproductive organs, like, and like, we have to do, and I say this as a female who like has, like the level of like things that I have, like, that are going on inside of that whole area for me, like, it sucks to have to go to an OBGYN like within a 6 to 12 month like time frame. Period. It sucks to have to like have somebody like having to because breast cancer is so common. Like it's becoming more and more
just common.
Right, it's becoming more and more common. I mean, males do get it too, but like it is just more common in females because especially so like we're looking at like more and more women are not having children, or like, I hate to say this, but like we are getting closer to 30 and like we're getting past like the prime age for being reproductive, right? So like we're sitting with like these like just like dormant tissue, like extra dormant tissue in our skin that's just getting like abused all the time because we're like constantly like moving and pushing into things and like and like we're like it's not an optimal situation, right? Like the cancer cells are gonna love that because they have somewhere to chill. So it's like that's not fun. So like having to constantly feel around, like I don't know if you've like I've given myself like administered breast exams, and you get worried, like, oh my God, what is that?
You get worried all the time. I do it just randomly just to be like, all right, I'm good, right? Like this is the shit that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
It's so
stupid. And like the worst part of it is that like your body changes so much. Like when I went and like not knowing and understanding that like put you in a place to like be more in fear of like what's going on in your body because you don't know that. Like great, I know muscles, I know anatomy, I know physiology, but like I don't know reproductive health. Like that's not what I studied. So like when I switched to having an IUD, side note, awesome investment. Side note, menstrual cups, awesome investment. But when I switched to having an IUD and like the hormones change, right? Like you aren't on hormones anymore. You're on like a really low dosage of them. My like getting my period changed. And all of a sudden I get like cramps in my chest that I never used to get before in my life. So when you all of a sudden are getting like pain,
you're screwed. Your anxiety, especially during,
and then you like feeling like, oh my God, is that a lot? Like, it's just a mind boggling, and you just freak yourself out, and it really isn't fun.
It's and not then there's fun during the menstrual cycle. It's just not a fun time.
Yeah, period.
Pun intended.
Literally, period. Pun intended. Yes. But it's like, oh God.
Like your anxiety's up, and like you start cramping, but also like even when you're PMSing, like it's just not. It's really like 2 weeks out of the month, every fucking month.
And that's another thing too. I used to hate when people be like, okay, so like my background history, like I was not the nicest person when we were young, and it's fine. And like when I would get referred to as a B word, I would hear a lot of time like, oh my God, like, do you have your period or something? Like
who cares?
What the hell? What the? Yes, I do. Would you like me to prove it to you?
Yes.
Like that was usually like,
what do you want me to say? And that's also
that was another thing. Like that somehow would be
also, like guys
as like a
guys are
as
dumb.
a weakness for us. Like, but the way that I see it, if you really look at it, like, how could you tell me that I can walk around for roughly 2 weeks, still function and still survive, and do that 2 weeks out of every month for an entire year? Like, I'm walking around and like shedding life, blood, like it's in gross. A way, right? And like I'm surviving. Like if you're a boy and you can't do that, like I'm more powerful than you are. Like if you start shedding blood, you're not gonna make it. Like shut up.
No, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is happening to me? Am I dying?
Oh yeah.
And like just even like having cramps every month, like we don't complain about it, like it's happening. We're like, this is annoying, but like we go to work, we do our shit. But if guys ever get fucking like cramps, and if they feel the cramps that we feel for like a couple weeks,
have you seen those videos?
I have. They're so funny.
Where they put the stem on
the thing.
I told Dan, I have a stem machine.
Oh, you do?
Who are we doing that? Oh my God.
Because like, I think we're so desensitized because it's such a normal feeling to us that like it actually does hurt. Like it's like not like if like we were guys and this was happening to us, like I feel like we would feel like we're dying.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the worst part is it's a shock to your system. Mm-hmm. Like that's why that's why I get so like when I had first gotten it and I like was younger and I used to like be physically ill.
Oh, I was physically ill.
Like it's like your body doesn't know what to do. And it's like, it honestly is like your Mother Nature is pissed at you because it's not actually a baby. Like that's literally what's happening. Your body's like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and now we have to get rid of this. Good job. Like that, literally. It's all really effed up. It's so effed up. But it's like, when you actually think about it, that's what
it is. Have you thought about this before? Or
no, it's not that. Here's what I'm thinking about. Every time that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, good. This is not making me feel comfortable. Wait. Every time that happens, you're losing an egg.
Correct. Yes. Are we having yeah?
So like for the past 12 years.
Yes.
That's like rough. Well, okay. So because of my cyst, I don't always get it. But like that's roughly 12 eggs a month. That's a lot. And you're only born with a certain number.
A year, you mean? 12 eggs a year?
Yes. Over 16
12
years.
Months. 12
12
eggs a month.
Well, no, God. No, it's one. God. Sorry, the way that works is one per month. That's 12 months of a year over 16 years. A lot of math.
It's almost 10.
But that's a lot. And you're only born with so many of them.
Yeah.
And not all of them are viable. I should probably go check and see how many I have left now that I think about it.
You can.
Maybe that'll be a conversation for the gynecologist.
That's another time. But no, you can do that.
Something I just realized, guys.
Thankfully, technology to figure out how.
Yeah, they allow you to count them.
Mm-hmm.
See,
it is a lot. It is a lot of.
Would I want to know the answer to that question?
Well, I think for you, it would give you anxiety, and then I would
also feel.
If you tell your parents this or your family this, they're gonna be like, "Yo, you have this many eggs."
That would be the issue, is because I know that if I got an answer that was like, okay, you have to do that, like you have to start doing this now within the next year or two, I'd probably not. Like I would have to say no because I wouldn't be ready for it.
No.
But then I would walk around with like the shame and guilt of it. So no, we'll just let it.
You're gonna let it slide because I don't think
if it happens. It's supposed to happen. If it happens, it's supposed to happen. If it's not supposed to happen, it's not supposed to happen. And I'm happy to adopt children. There are a lot of kids in the world that already need.
There are a lot of kids in the world that need homes, unfortunately.
Right, so that's either way, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so being female is really fun. This went off on a whole tangent. Brittany had a lot of realizations during this conversation. Great.
It's not fun. There's a lot of hormones involved. But
we are so like all the crap that we deal with. It baffles me that men were ever able to tell us that we aren't powerful, like that we aren't capable. When you look at all of the stuff that our bodies do.
No, I mean I agree completely.
You know what I mean? Like it's so interesting that was able to happen.
It's it's just the system that we've always lived in. I think it's also just like the animal kingdom, right? Like the male usually. I mean, I'm sure there are other animals that the female is the superior one, obviously. But
I mean, a lot. If you think about it, a lot of them are. Really? And like even in the ways where like I mean insects specifically, right? Like they effing murder their mates.
Oh, like yeah. Like, you're right. Actually, yes, there are a lot.
Like and like birds, like the birds are usually like there's this level of like the males always have to be the ones that have to like show to the women, right? That have to please and like intrigue the women. But I think that it's the level of protection, right? Like if you look at like lions or like other large animals, like the male is like that level of protection unless it comes to the kids, because then you always hear those really crazy stories about like mother animals like getting in on people for their kids.
Shit up people. Yeah.
So like in my mind, I wonder if it's like if the basis of that was like trying to make women like men knowing in some way, shape, or form that like that we don't need, so like they have to like find some way to suppress our strength so that we, you know what I mean?
Oh, are you saying that like men have figured out that we don't need them, so instead of dealing with that, they kind of just overpowered us and like have
out of like fear of feeling like they wouldn't be dominant.
Yeah, but like you know what? Yeah, the younger generations have figured it out, so like it's reverting back.
Yeah, like thank God.
Yeah, because like no,
but still, it's just like I'm so curious to know like how
it all started.
Yeah, how all of that was allowed.
Probably like with like kings and queens and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
No, like dynasties and like all that shit, like conquering and whatnot.
But yeah. I don't know. I'm
probably the cavemen like hunter gatherers, like because
they were the ones who were able to provide for the women. But at the same time, it's like it's not that women weren't capable of going out and doing that.
No, they weren't.
They had to be. They were mothers. Like they were the only way that you were going to have your species continue. So if you sacrifice the women, you're less likely to have your species continue than if you sacrifice the men.
Right. So
like that, like that's like the legitimate like it's not that women weren't capable of doing that. No. And like yes, like men are physically built to be stronger. Like yes, understood. Like totally get it. But like women could have figured all of that out and like been the strength that they needed to be to get stuff done. We see women do that now, like in a modern way all the time.
Yeah.
But the reality of it wasn't like I'm big, strong man. It was like you're dispensable. We need these wombs by.
Yeah, literally. No, you're right.
So like how did all of that?
Girl, I don't know. The rise.
I'm not expecting you to have an answer. I'm just like that Dan gets mad at me all the time because I'll ask him questions and he's like, I don't freaking know. And I'm like, I'm not asking you because I want you to have an answer. I want you to like engage in the I want you to engage in the like ideas and the concepts of it with me because I think it's super interesting. I really like, man.
If anyone knows the answer, that'd be great. But
yeah,
my guess,
tell us, like what happened?
My guess, like every other guess, is like either these are like my three broad answers all the time. Capitalism, colonialism, religion.
Yep.
Those are the three.
And the wars that all three of those lead to. That all sounds accurate. I'm for that.
If I can guess, I'm usually correct with those three answers.
Yep, yeah, they're good umbrellas. They cover pretty much everything. I'm all about it. Oh God. So this was fun.
Always fun at 10 o'clock at night.
Alrighty, well, we definitely are going to get back to bringing in more guests.
Right.
We're gonna have so much to talk about in the next couple of weeks.
Do we? We do.
Like, think of all the things that are going to be happening.
Yeah, I know. I'm remembering now.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff we'll be covering in the next couple of weeks. You guys are finally going to meet Dan's definitely going to come on in a future episodes. You'll get to actually meet him. So please continue to subscribe, to join us in these conversations. If you're somebody who listens and you have something that like you're passionate about, or you have a story that sent you off on a rant,
let us know.
I feel you. And come join us in these conversations. It's funny because I had somebody like ask me what we talk about on this podcast, and I couldn't
tell you.
Sum it up.
I couldn't tell you.
But I feel like we always talk about like things
capitalism, religion,
right? Like we
colonialism.
I literally am just gonna be like, all the things that like your family and friends tell you not to talk about when you meet new people. That's what we talk about.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel like you're not supposed to have a public conversation about, that's what we talk about.
That's literally
like all the things that like people like you think would be like spoken about behind closed doors is all the stuff that we lay out on the table.
Yeah, essentially. Mental health.
Yep.
Like conspiracy
mental
theories.
Health, politics, theories,
literally
vulnerabilities, like all that stuff. Yeah. And like and then I think like the biggest thing is like I feel like I never answered with like an actual answer of like, oh, this is what we talk about. I'm always like, well, our point is to help people realize like that they're not alone. And like they
so
can
big. Yeah, but you're right though.
They can find different ways to like learn things and grow themselves, and like that's kind of what our podcast is.
Our platform is, yeah. Or again, you can give them my 3 answers and we're pretty much covered.
I don't. Oh man. But yeah, so that's if you were somebody who listens to our podcast, if you have an answer for us, like what do we do? What do we talk about? How would you describe this podcast? What would you say like we talk about it would be? What would be like our short niche statement for this podcast?
Yeah.
Neither one of us are like really on it, but we still do this because we like having these conversations and we hope that they can be impactful and valuable to somebody in some way, shape, or form.
Fingers crossed. Oh God. Okay.
I'm done.
On that note.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Okay, bye.